Hello, this is Sandy with Sandy's Crafty Creations for Graphic 45. In this video, I'm sharing my process of creating a 12 by 12 layout out of their newest paper collection, Penny's Paper Doll Family. I knew when I saw this collection that it was perfect for this photo of my sister and I. I'm the youngest one in the photo, but I've always loved it and knew that it was a perfect way to showcase how close we were to each other. I have already selected my papers from the collection that I'm going to use and cut it down to size for the different layers. I've selected my ribbon, created a junk bow out of the ribbon, fussy cut some of the elements, and selected the flowers that I want to use. I've also chosen a small doily that our mother crocheted that I thought was perfect to go with this layout. So let's get started. Before we continue, I also want to share that I have laid out all my elements here, but this is not necessarily how it will end up, but it kind of gives me a general idea. So this is a good tip for you to follow, is kind of lay things out so that you know where you're going to put it. Um, Also, this is not a live video, but rather a video with steps of still photos. So it's a little bit different what I normally do. So here we go. The first step is to ink all the edges of your selected paper layers. I'm using a light brown color to ink all my edges, and the green is going to go down on top of that border piece that you see with the stamps underneath, and all you're going to see once the green is down is the scalloped or lacy edge of the beige and the outer blue border. So I am covering that up, but that's what I wanted the look to be, is just those bordering the green stripe. Next, I've added this linen ivory cardstock that I cut down into a square, and I punched the corners with a lacy punch. And I'm adding this in to bring out the lighter ivory color. This is a really nice ivory cardstock from Country Craft Creations. It's a linen cardstock, and it's just really a nice matchup to the Graphic 45 papers when I want a lighter color. Now, if I wanted more of a color, I would have used the Patterns and Solids that matches the collection. On top of the ivory, I added a pattern paper layer, and this is one of the red patterns that comes in the Penny's Paper Doll Family collection, and I added it to bring out that color that I will be showing some of later on in some of the elements. On top of the red pattern paper, I added our mother's hand crocheted doily. Now don't get upset that I've glued this down. I did use 3-in-1 glue to glue this onto the layout, but I have several of these doilies. My mother loved to crochet, and in her later years she did a lot of crocheting and gave me a lot of doilies, so I have a lot in my stash of doilies. I have a lot in different places in the house and in a keepsake drawer. So I had several of this particular style, so there was no problem in using it, and because it was in a special layout, I felt like it was just fine to go ahead and use that here. On top of the doily, I added a photo mat that I cut out of the paper collection. I'm using a smaller floral print in the pink color, and so this is where I will be matting my photo. I have always loved this picture of my sister and I. I was probably about 2 years old, and that would make her around 7. Well, actually, if I'm 2, she is 7, because we were exactly 5 years apart. We were both born on the same date, 5 years apart. And I took this photo. This is, like I said, a digital reprint from the original. And so I inked the edges with some of the brown ink, and I also tattered the edges a little bit to kind of age this new print digital copy. Along the top edge of the photo, along the mat, I added a strip of green border, and then I also added a strip of lacy punched out of the ivory linen cardstock. My next step was to add different ribbons and lace onto the bottom of the photo, and so first I put down like a darker beige color sheer ribbon, then I added a satin ivory dotted ribbon. I added blue rickrack to bring in the blue color. I added ivory rickrack, and then I added some really pretty ivory lace along the bottom. When I add ribbon and lace to a layout all the way across the page, I do wrap the ends around to the back and use tape to fix them on the back. I also use some score tape and sometimes some 3-in-1 to hold the ribbon and laces in place on the front. Next, I'm adding the junk bow that I made out of some of the ribbons, and then I'm also adding different flowers from my stash. I put one in the top corner up on the ivory mat, and then I added flowers in with the bow. Now it's time to add in the fussy cut elements from the paper collection. I cut out the sister and the little sister and the baby buggy with the dolls inside of it, and I like to have this layered in 3D type dimensional, so I use a mixture of black chipboard that I've cut into little squares and foam squares to get the lift that I need in different areas. Like the big sister is flatter down on the page, with the little sister lifted up next, and then the baby buggy lifted up a little bit higher, so it kind of looks like it's a more of a dimensional type 3D arrangement of these fussy cut elements. I also fussy cut out some of the stamps from the paper collection and have attached those alongside the fussy cut elements. And to finish it all off, I used a Nuvo clear glitter pen to add a little bit of sparkle to different areas, like on the ribbons and bows and any flowers that I felt needed just a little bit of touch of sparkle on them. My layout is finished. In this photo, I placed my sister's diary and my doll from when I was about 4 years old in with the layout. And I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope I've inspired you to find something special, a special photo, and create a beautiful layout. Thank you again. Bye-bye.